This is your Tarotscope for December 29th through January 4th, 2025. Happy New Year. We are starting off this week with a new moon in Capricorn that's exact on December 30th. I just sent out a moon letter, which is my bi-monthly newsletter. It's available on Substack, and you can find that in my bio if you're interested, which has a full breakdown of the astrology of the moment and the energy of this new moon, so I won't go deep in this reading. But I do want to, of course, introduce you to our cards of the week and also mention that we're building up to a Mars-Pluto opposition, which is exact on January 3rd. And we also have Venus entering Pisces. So there are some big shifts and building energy that's happening this week. And I think the cards are going to get us through that. But if you want more, I would go check out that article. It's the latest one on my Substack. So getting into our anchor card, the Queen of Swords. This is often a card that's associated with the sign of Libra, and we do have the South Node currently in Libra, about to shift into Virgo on January 11th. So this is really our last stretch, our last 2 weeks with the South Node in Libra, and that's bringing in a lot of kind of last minute, we might say, shifts in terms of our connections and the way that we show up and express ourselves in relationships. The Queen of Swords is something that we might be growing into this coming week, which is clear, direct communication. Sometimes can be a little bit cutthroat and super boundaried to the point of even verging into icy, although that's more common when the Queen of Swords shows up reversed. But the Queen of Swords upright is definitely a boundaried energy that is clear, direct, sticks to the facts, focuses on the truth, whatever that means. And the Queen of Swords is someone who often keeps emotions close to the chest and can be a bit more guarded. And that's usually because of experience. Experience has taught the Queen of Swords to not reveal too much, to not share too much, and to be more discerning. And there's someone who's quite observant, who picks up on a lot, who sees a lot, and who also tends to call it like it is. So this could be an energy that we are really embodying this week. Maybe something we're growing into, or something we're reverting back to, or maybe this is already kind of the vibe and this isn't much of a growth edge for us, but it's more just the natural energy that we embody. But again, this traditionally is associated with Libra. And so it does feel as though this energy is really showing up for us in our relationships. And it's worth noting in this deck, the Next World Tarot, this is called the Throne of Truth. Our challenge this week is the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords can cause us to feel trapped. It can be like the narratives that we can get stuck in. At times it can feel like situations where we feel we're lacking agency or the power to really pull ourselves out of something that's making us feel small or confined or repressed in some way. And in this Eight of Swords, this person is concealing their face with what looks like a mask. And the keyword here is restriction. They're also standing in some type of ritual circle. And so this ritual circle, there's, if you check it out, let me see if I can get it in focus. You can see at the bottom edge here, there's like this red sand or dust or rocks or something that feels like it's keeping them inside, and it's quite a small space that they're standing in. And then again, they're concealing their face with that mask. So there can sometimes be this sense of insecurity or this fear around revealing ourselves, showing ourselves, or being authentic with people for fear of being rejected, judged, ridiculed, humiliated, whatever, ostracized. And you might be feeling that sense of insecurity budding up within you this week. But it feels like that's something that's cropping up because it's meant to illuminate a part of you that you're actually ready to look at and to be with and to maybe offer some compassion to. And maybe there's a vulnerable part of you that you haven't felt ready to share with other people, that you are building up the confidence to share, or building up the confidence to even look at yourself. Maybe you've been afraid to look at this part of you, and this is the week when you see how trapped and repressed that part of you feels, and that acknowledgement and awareness gives you the chance to actually go toward it. The Eight of Swords in the upright can be a difficult challenge, though. This can be self-limiting narratives. It can be the stories that we play over and over again in our heads, and they become so big that they start to feel like the truth, capital T, truth. But remember that the Queen of Swords is actually the throne of truth, and this is someone who can cut through illusion and get to the truth of something, or at least get to the facts. And so one thing I'd invite you to do that I talked about in our moon letter and in our Patreon audio reading for this new moon is to actually focus on the facts. If you get caught up reading subtext into people's words, if you seek the meaning, or if you fear rejection and so you project that fear onto how people are behaving, assuming that they're judging you, assuming that they're rejecting you, assuming that they're ridiculing you, then that can really become a powerful story that's difficult to unhook from. So whatever narrative you tend to project onto other people's actions, see if you can catch that in motion this week. See if you can notice when you're going into story mode and when it's changing your interpretation of a situation. Because I do feel this opportunity for us to cut through that projection and illusion this week and to get to something that's realer. And that might just mean stripping away the stories and focusing only on what's being said or what's being done, and not going down that path in the first place, or at least kind of pulling ourselves back when we do. Our gift, plural, my shirt's falling down my arms and it's annoying. Our gifts this week, because we did have two pop up, are the Eight of Cups, which in this deck is called Abandon. And this is a Saturn and Pisces card. We do notably have Saturn and Pisces, and Saturn is at the apex of a T-square currently between Mercury and Sag and Jupiter and Gemini. And we also actually have Jupiter and Gemini coming out with the Eight of Swords. So we see the sky right now. We see this square between Jupiter and Saturn that's actually showing up. And then our Two of Swords is Moon in Libra. So I would pay attention to when the moon is in Libra over the course of the next month. And I'm just going to put that out there. It feels important. But to stick to this message, the Eight of Cups, again, abandon as a gift, might mean that we're walking away from some of these narratives. There might be some type of mental process that we're leaving behind this coming week, and we make the decision to do that. It's a clear, intentional choice. It's not like some miracle happens. We make it happen. We see the opportunity, we recognize what we're doing, and we decide to just stop. And it's like that begins to rewrite the story. It begins to rewire the path, so we're not going down that same path over and over. And when we make that choice, it feels like there's some powerful energy behind it. So you might want to set this intention for our new moon in Capricorn to rewrite your story and see what comes of it. Have a good week.